Okay.
We'll wait for some people to join in, but
All right. I didn't open the YouTube tab. Let me see that. Mm-hmm. You're gonna show like the messages, right?
yes.
Okay.
You don't have Discord on your computer? Okay, I'll put the link in Discord just in case anybody checks there.
Okay.
Hi, Sarah. How are you? Just give us 1 minute and we're going to give everybody a chance to join and then we'll start talking about it.
Can you hear the song?
Yes.
It's very happy.
Yes, I can see.
Good vibes for the live. Yep.
That's what you bring, all the vibes.
Yeah. You've never had this in any other of your lives, so it's a ritual that brings good vibes.
I expect it to be in the next one as well. Next month, I want your washer and dryer.
Washing machine will be here.
Okay.
I'm gonna be a co-host for sure.
I'm expecting it to sing to me.
Yeah, and probably a few teenagers screaming also. Yeah.
Well, maybe we can skip those next time, but
yeah, they were calling someone a rapariga, which I won't translate what it is, but it's not a very nice word.
Sarah, I'm good. I can't speak for Letitia, obviously, but I'm good. I'm excited for the live.
I'm good, Sarah. I'm alive. So that was a bonus.
How's your night going, Sarah?
I'm trying to open the chat, by the way. I'm not ignoring everyone, okay? Here. Okay. Now let's see you. Hi, Sarah.
All right, so I think we could wait till like 7:05 and then we can get started. Okay. Just give people like 5 minutes.
Oh, it's really late. Oh, I'm seeing the live right now. It's like really late.
It is.
I'm saying hi right now.
Oh.
Okay. Have you read the book, Sarah? Or are you just here to see our faces? Because
either one is fine.
Yep. I think there's someone. Oh no, it was you. Oh my god. Aurora is sleeping. I wish I could show you guys that. Hi, baby. She's angry.
Well, I think we'll get there. I think we have some. We'll get there. If that's ominous enough.
I don't want to give any spoilers, but there is someone that isn't really a fan of this book.
Bane? Is it you? I think it's Bane.
Yep, sure. He read a 500-page book.
And he certainly did.
Yep. And then the second one is going to be the Bible, for sure.
Oh yeah.
My night is great. I have brownies that I did, and they are absolutely delicious. Yeah.
Brownies.
Yes, they're brownies. And then Ashley is cuddling her cat, so she's clearly okay.
You read the book 4 times, so you really like it.
No.
When was the first time you read it, Sarah?
Sarah, do you read anything else? Or like, it's very good. That's a lot of motivation. I don't really reread books, and that's not very good because I did.
I think the only book that I have the only romance I've read that many times is Birthday Girl. That's because I have an audiobook.
I knew you were going to say that. Mm-hmm.
I'm getting the next book in the series. How about you guys? Well,
I'm not getting it physically because I do not have the money for it, but I'm reading it for sure.
I'm not getting it physically because
and not even an ebook. Be honest.
For reasons that we will get into. Okay, so I guess it's 7:05, so we can start talking about it. I will let Letitia lead because she came prepared and I did not.
Yep. Let me show everyone my notes here. Like,
Yes, I
this is
have.
Ashley's page. I have a whole page dedicated just for Ashley's recommendations, and then my notes about Haunting Adeline. So, first category, it's you read 20 books in a month, Sarah? That's a shit ton of books. That's a shit ton. Okay.
I probably read about the same, and you probably do too, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
We don't do wrap ups, but I do about the same as well.
No, because I already do a lot of recommendations. So if I do wrap ups, it's going to be a little bit too repetitive. But anyways, first category. I came prepared. Okay, I'm so proud of myself. It's characters. I liked Zaid and I also liked Addie, but they just didn't shine in the book. The plot took everything. It was just messy. I think we talked about this, and I'm not going to talk a lot about the plot because we have that category later. So yeah, but I liked Zaid, and I also liked Eddie, especially as a couple, and I really liked that he fell in love with her first, and that he was obsessed. He was a complete cycle, and I loved that so much. Also, the roses he left were so sweet and so cute. The fact that he also took off the thorns from them. So sweet. And then the secondary characters, I felt that her best friend was a little bit sus. Like, there's gonna be something on the second book. I feel she's hiding something. And then other than that, I don't really remind about anyone. No, I don't remember anyone. So yeah.
So what was the heroine's name?
Addie.
Hunting Adeline. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Addie, I felt like kind of the same thing with both of them. Like they didn't really have much personality to them. Like Addie's personality was the fact that she really likes horror movies and she's like like they get her riled up. And then Zaid's personality was that like he is obsessive.
She reminded me a little bit of Bethany from Left of Love,
Yes.
like the whole horror thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the same thing because we read them so close together. Like I read that one last week and I read this one this week. I was like, they feel very similar. But in that one, I feel like Bethany had a little bit more personality. She had a little bit more going on, whereas I felt like Adeline was just,
she was a little bit bland.
Yeah, she was just kind of along for the ride. And I didn't really understand her motivations. Like even with the plot, which we'll get to, I didn't understand her motivations to further that plot. Or even like, I don't know. I didn't really think either of them felt like real people, I guess.
It's like I liked her, but even when I was starting to really, really like her, it felt repetitive that she kept saying she didn't feel attracted to Zaid. And like, I don't like him. He's a sick, whatever. But
right.
Like all the scenes, she was clearly attracted to him.
Right.
And I was pissed because of it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, just admit it. No one's judging you.
Yeah, I think it was more of like I think it was more used to perpetuate the dynamic that they had of like the run and I'll catch you sort of thing. But even then, like it being in her head, it just didn't like, if you're doing that in the moment, sure, it helps the scene. But I think outside of it, when she's just doing random shit and she's like, oh, he's such a bad person. I'm like, oh. Like, we're not even talking about that right now. We get he's a bad person. So I don't know. I just didn't really find them very.
It's because this book was too repetitive sometimes. It's like 532 pages, or maybe a little bit more than that. And she only starts really admitting, not even admitting, like
70%.
Is that exactly like starting to say that she likes him a little bit. This of the book, I was pissed. Like, girl, admit it sooner, please.
Right.
And also the timeline, it was a little bit confusing. I was like, has it been months, days, weeks, hours?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think I think she mentions like once, like, oh, I've only known him like a week or something like that. But it just,
Girl, if it was a week, this book was intense.
oh yeah, I know.
I don't even want to know
Like
how many pages it's gonna have if the next book is like a month or something.
a week was it was a little OD to happen in a week. Like there was a lot going on.
Girl, it felt like after. I know you hit after, like, but it's a big part of like school and skipping school and actually reading after instead of paying attention to my classes. So it's very great for me. So this, I think the after series, it's a less than a year, and the books are huge. There are a lot of books, and I was like, wait, it's only been this amount of time. It felt like 5 years, and the amount of damage that man has made in Tessa's life. No.
I watched, like, this is completely off topic. I watched like reaction videos for the after movies because I read
Mhm.
the first book like beginning of 2020 and
Mhm.
or 2019, and like hated it. I couldn't stand it. So I was like, okay, well, let's see what the movies are about, because the movies, I think, the first one had come out just around the same time.
Mhm.
And I I watched reactions, and then like the second one came out and it was only like 6 months later, like a semester later. I'm like,
Mhm.
like all of this crap that he did in the first, like, I don't know. I didn't like him.
No,
It
I
just
don't.
I that whole like toxicity in that whole like new adult, all that, it's not my thing
It
anymore.
was too much.
Yeah.
Like, normally in angsty books, you have like angst on the very beginning, like, oh, we hate each other, whatever. And then you start liking each other, and then it's chill, and then it's angst again.
Right.
I didn't have that. It was like angst all the time. We were like, give the girl a break. She's gonna
And
die.
she was just dumb too. Like she was just as like toxic as he was in that like I'm a
Yes.
good girl kind of toxicity. So I don't know. They deserved each other. By the end of it, I was just like, whatever. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But okay, so we will give everybody in chat a chance to talk about how they felt about our two main characters, and then we will move on to Letitia's next planned
Category.
section.
Yes. I'm waiting, if you can already tell.
I mean, I finished this book because I read it. I used the Alexa like read to me thing, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever used it, but she sounds like a literal robot, which might have like contributed to the fact that I was not super into it, because like certain scenes
How?
would happen and she would just be
You're
like,
like setting yourself up, Ashley. You
she
didn't want to like
oh,
this.
Alexa was just like, "Oh yeah. Mhm. Go for it." And she kept calling it she she kept calling it pussy. So he kept saying pussy. I'm like, "No."
We have Alexa, like my dad has Alexa, and we use it for music sometimes. And yeah, it actually sounds really robotic. So I can't imagine Alexa reading a steamy scene. So maybe you didn't want to like this book, Ashley, because you made Alexa read it. So
I have one rule with books, the darker the better. I
same thing for me.
tend to
But
agree, but the darkness has to make sense.
no,
The
yeah.
darkness has to make sense, and I don't think it made sense here. I think that it was used to, like, shock people, and
Mhm.
to make it one of those books where TikTok blew it up and it was like, "Oh my god, this is so crazy dark," kinda like Den of Vipers, where everybody was like, "This is so dark and so crazy," but it didn't actually make sense with the with the characters and with the plot. And a perfect example of what I mean is, like, for example, Dark Notes by Pam Godwin. A very dark book, there's a lot of triggers, it's very heavy, but it makes sense with the couple and the trajectory of their relationship, and this just didn't make sense.
It was beautiful. Dark Notes was
I I I kind of agree. I definitely think.
Oh my god, you didn't like it either.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, fair enough. I get it, but like, okay.
To be honest, I don't think they were annoying. I'm saying I like them, but they weren't a big part of the story, which is concerning because they were the main characters.
Yeah, they were annoying in that it was like the same stuff over and over again. Yeah, I loved it at first too, and then I got to like the 300-page mark and I was like, I still have 300 pages left?
Exactly.
What is going on?
It's never gonna end. I was like, do I have more time to prepare for this live show? Because I'm never gonna finish this book. Like,
yeah. After halfway, it annoyed me. I agree, because it was the same like exterior of the plot that was happening with like her separately and then him separately. Every scene they were in together was just the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So I was just like, yeah. About halfway, I was like, just stop having the same conversations, the same interactions. Y'all want to bang, just bang. Like, just get it over with. Just stop.
Same thing I felt.
Yes, if it had been 300 pages, it would have been amazing. If it had been 300 pages and it had just been about them, it would have been 5 stars for sure. But
to be honest, I think my favorite part about this, for sure, were the sex scenes. I mean, they were pretty great. Come on, they were pretty creative, in my opinion.
I heard about
agreeing with me, Ashley.
Because I heard about pussiness all the time.
Oh yeah, because Alexa writes the scenes. Okay.
Eventually, it got to a point where I was like, okay, I just have to read them physically. So, like, anytime they would come up, I would turn Alexa off and then I would read them, because I'm like, okay, I know these should be amazing, but like, also, yes, like after that scene, I had no idea how to feel, because like this is like towing the line of like this is like towing the line of one of my limits of like one of the things that I don't really like reading about. Why there's a certain book that I will not read because there are certain like things that a hero can do to a heroine that I just like, you can't redeem for me. Mm-hmm. And so this was almost too much for me. No, and I didn't know how I felt.
It's very controversial because normally you're the one that accepts everything. You're like, oh, the darker the better. I'm like, Ashley, I'm not okay. I'm feeling cramped. This is not good. And then you're like, no, it's okay. You can finish this.
I think that the thing, like, we've had this conversation before with like DubCon. It's very important that, okay, we're not going to talk about the physics. And I agree. Afterwards, I was like, okay, we're not going to discuss the yeast infections that are going on after this.
There are worse things.
Yeah.
Like the fact that, was the gun clean?
Right. Is there residue left over? Because we need to know.
We're not going to talk about that. Okay. The book was traumatizing enough.
But yeah. Okay. So what was I saying? Okay. The super important thing for me in scenes like the gun scene is like, because you're in the heroine's head that she's enjoying it. And I appreciated that we saw scenes of her like being bratty and fighting back, but not really. Mm-hmm. And that's like super important for me in scenes like this. But I wish that before the initial gun scene had happened, we got more of like the teasing, more of her like maybe undressing in front of a window where she knows he's watching her, things like that. Because that initial scene, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this.
I didn't really care about the gun scene because I drew the line at like the satanic rituals. In that damn club, I was like, why do you exist? It makes no sense.
Well, that's different because that's with the plot, not with the relationship. I mean, like, there are things that can be done in a relationship that just make it not, like, you can't redeem. Like, a lot of people talk about, what is it, Unbreakable?
I also didn't like the fact that she never mentioned if the gun was loaded or not. Like, the other things, okay, we can't ignore. But this? No. She had to tell us.
That's a good point. I don't think I don't know. Because I think he was like, this is the interesting part.
I was paying close attention to the whole chapter. I was like,
yeah, because she was like,
did she die?
No, she was like, because she says something about like, oh, if this goes off or like he's gonna kill me this way, this is gonna suck. I'm like, yeah, it is
And then
gonna
I was
suck.
reading, I was like, will she die? Is there a risk of her dying?
Well, I mean, hey,
No, but she never mentioned
she had just saw him kill someone, like poof someone out of her house. So I don't. She can, you know.
She was also pretty okay with the hands thing. She was like a little bit freaked out. Oh no, hands on my doorstep. But then she was okay.
She was like she was weirdly okay with everything. She knew that he went after her ex-boyfriend. She knew that he went after Archer, and she was just like,
Okay.
you get a box full of hands, and you're just like, yeah, this is totally
She
fine.
was like, okay, that's so wrong. Like, I don't like them. But then he killed someone.
She
He
gets a
had hands and fingers
yes,
on your doorstep.
yes. She gets a box full of hands, and she's like, should I call the cops? Nah. And then she like,
Yes, you
I'll
killed
use it
someone.
as a centerpiece on my table. Like, I was like, okay. Okay, so let's move on to your next scheduled
Category.
section.
Okay. So actually, next one is plot. We're gonna talk about the plot, deeply about the plot. So, are we gonna start with the satanic rituals and how unnecessary they were?
Okay, so here's the thing. Before we get into that, I will say that like the three different parts of the plot felt like completely different books. Like his part where he's like killing these sex trafficker these child traffickers, and then their relationship, and then her like discovering her grandmother was murdered or whatever, felt like different books. Like there was no cohesion at all. And so I think that's why the fact that all of these like dark stuff was going on with children and stuff like that was so jarring, because I think if you had seen this in a book, maybe like for example, the First Comes Blood series by
Mhm.
Lilith Vincent, it's dark. There's mafia elements to it. There's like people getting stabbed and shot and all that kind of stuff. But because it makes sense with the story, it meshes well together and it's like feels cohesive. Whereas
Mhm.
this just it felt unnecessary because none of it mattered. So it was like dark, but it was like, okay, but it's dark and that's cool, but like why am I reading it? Kind of thing.
When she first introduced like the diaries, I was really intrigued. I was like, "Oh, history is repeating itself. I want to see what happened to her grandma." And then it kind of went meh, like I didn't care about her grandma's stalker, and then also the killer. I knew who the killer was, and it wasn't surprising. I was like, but the time she revealed it, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you know that.
Yeah. I was yeah. I agree. Yes. Yes. Okay, so like I also kind of agree with
Is
this.
it safe?
Yes.
Okay.
Zaid. I also kind of agree with this because it was like, okay, but you're willing to borderline sexually assault the person you're obsessed with, but also you like kill
I didn't
traffickers. Like
understand.
it's a weird, I don't know, it was a weird way to redeem him, I guess.
He's so soft for the little girls he's saving. Like, oh, she's in danger. She's so pretty. And then, like Addie, he was like, oh, this bitch can handle it, and
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna.
shoot her. I'm
And
gonna shoot her in the vagina. I'm like, okay.
excuse me, no.
Yeah, I don't.
I
I
didn't
don't know.
really understand him. I agree with that. I don't understand it. Was he a bad guy? Was he a good guy? There isn't really like it's boring. The gray area is boring. It's not like again the First Comes Blood book that they have a good side to them, but it's just for Kira. Like they are bad men and they own it. But
Right.
this one I was like,
Even then, it's like the soft side is not like giving you teddy bears and flowers. It's like protecting you and that kind of like it's not softness in the romantic sense. Like I think if someone were to ask me like if this book is a romance, because well, it's not, this one isn't because it doesn't end in HEA, but if you were to ask me like is this romantic? Not at all. Like, not at all. I don't think this is romantic romance. And I don't
No.
necessarily think that it was supposed to be,
I
but
think this is a great book if you haven't read a lot of romance. That's why I think Book Talk liked it so much, because people there don't read a lot of dark romance. And I think also a lot of people were very influenced. They were like, oh, everyone's liking it. Maybe I should like it too. You know?
as a horror, it was good.
It was good.
So here's my issue with this book being hyped up.
Mm-hmm.
Their relationship is dark itself. The like kinks and things that they do, the assault scene at the very beginning, like I don't think people that are new to dark romance or anything like that should be reading this. I think people, let me rephrase that. I don't think people that are new to romance or read just regular romance should be reading this. I think someone that's used to dark romance could be fine.
No, I don't think they should read it, but I just think that they would enjoy more if they don't have a lot of experience with books, you know? Because we already read a lot of romance. Like, we are jaded.
Yeah, but I also think that this, I guess what I'm trying to say is like the fact that this is so hyped up, you could overlook some of the darker stuff in it and some of the things that can be very triggering.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see, I'm not on TikTok, but when you see like a little TikTok of someone just being like, this is really good, and then they do the tropes, you're not really like prepared for what you're going in for, because I think that there are elements of this that can be very triggering for people. And the fact that it's just broadly hyped up is a problem, in my opinion.
I think that Book Talk, it's like, it's a very small space of time to review a book. So people give much more importance to the tropes instead of the trigger warnings.
Right.
And that can be very damaging, you know, especially if you're a dark romance reader. So just a quick warning of like, oh, this can be triggering for some people. Okay. But what triggers are in there, you know?
Yeah.
People don't really
YA? They call this YA?
No.
They're not even young adults. The characters themselves, their ages aren't even young adults.
No, she's like 26 and he's
like 30 something. Yeah.
32. Yeah. This is not YA.
This is the problem that I have with Book Talk, and like why I actively don't want to participate in it is this exact reason.
I participated in Book Talk for a very, very small amount of time because it was not good for me. Like, you get too addicted to the numbers and then you start liking all these videos because you want to read everything. And then I read a few books that were recommended by Book Talk. And the vibe that I got from the book talks were like, oh, this is a gothic romance. And then it's dark. Like, it's just an example. And then the book, when I read it, it's like, meh, it's kind of dark. It was good, but it wasn't.
This is the issue that I have, just like in this influx of like new
Also,
romance readers.
The Crow Prince. People think the Crow Prince is romance. It's not.
People don't understand what smut is. Like, and they're just like, oh, this. So I watched this is a perfect example. I watch Kayla from Books and Lala. Hey, Tamika. I watch Kayla from Books and Lala. She doesn't read romance, and she was going to read Wolf Song because she somehow was like reading people's favorites of the year or whatever, and she was going to read Wolf Song.
A lot of people say it's a romance, right?
It is, but she got on a live with someone. It's okay. Welcome. Glad you could stop in. Don't read it.
You miss a lot, especially from Ashley's POV. So,
but someone told her in a live that it was like werewolf smut, and it's not at all. I think there's like one scene, and she was like, "Well, I was told that this is what it was, so I'm just not gonna read it." I'm like, not every you read people kissing on page, and they're like, "This is smut."
It's not like. The one that leaves me absolutely baffled that people think it's romance is the Crow Prince. It's not. It doesn't even have smut.
It has a romance in it, but that's like 99.9% of all fantasies. Like you couldn't point me out a fantasy that doesn't have a romance in it. Right.
It's not a romance. Like there are a few scenes that like some authors is like it's fade to black, right? So oh, they slept together, but we don't really see that. Yeah, I don't really get the hype around the romance. I like the book, but it's not really romantic.
That's what I said when I read the trilogy. I really like the trilogy. It's probably one of my all-time favorite YA fantasies. But if you read the trilogy going in thinking that it's a romance, it's not. It's literally the whole series is about Jude and Jude's growth. Like it focuses so much on Jude that Carden is in maybe 10 scenes throughout the entire trilogy. So it's like, yeah, their romance is cool, but like it's not a romance. It is a fantasy that has a romance in it, and that's like 99% of fantasy.
Exactly. I think that's why I liked it so much because
yeah. I think the other thing is that people, I don't know, I think people just like, I think people that haven't discovered the romance genre look for
think everything is romance.
That or just like put emphasis on romances more than they're actually there, if that makes sense.
What book was it? The one we were talking about. It wasn't romance. You actually told that on your Goodreads review. The one with the drug addict mom and then the pedophile guy. What was the name of that book? We were like, oh, he's a rapist. And then you're like, yeah.
Yes. BL Mute. Oh, Tamika, I hope you like it. Pam Godwin. I have read one Pam Godwin and I cried. It was so beautiful. I loved it so much.
It was Dark Notes.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Oh, All the Ugly and Wonderful Things. Is that what you're talking about? Yes.
That is traumatizing.
Oh, no, it's not a romance. It is not a romance. And it really bothers me that people call it a romance. And it bothers me that the author calls it a romance.
I have seen videos where the title says specifically the like taboo, dark romance Rex. And then there is that book. And I'm like, why?
No, so okay, what happened was in one of my vlogs reading KU Dark Romances, it was Bully Romances. KU came up for BL Mute, and there is a book where she's like contracted to be with this guy who is like her dad's age. I don't remember exactly what happens, but he makes a comment about how he has always wanted to be with her since she was like 14 and started developing breasts. And like I
think you told me about that one.
Yeah, and it just like she's attracted to him, and there's like scenes between them where she's like into it, and I'm not. No,
that's disgusting. No.
And I felt really bad because I left a review on the book. Like there's not many reviews on there, but I left a 2-star review and I was like, this is not for me. Like it's not something that I can read. And the author liked it. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, but like you need to know this before you read it, that this is the thing. And it just
like, you were being honest, you know?
Yeah, I felt terrible, but I can't just not mention that because like if someone way more sensitive to things had gone into this, like
When you were talking about this, I was talking about Room Hate by Penelope Ward and another V. Kayland. Yeah. Okay, that book was traumatizing. That was terrible. Like the hero was one of the worst heroes I've ever read in my entire life. Like he kept calling her a slut and a whore, and it wasn't like kinky. It was just actually trying to offend her. And the girl also, she slut shamed everyone. And there's also cheating on this, a surprise pregnancy, all the tropes
that everybody hates.
And that I don't like are combined on this book, and they're a bomb. They're terrible. I hated that.
I mean, you could give it a shot. I'm not saying like anything bad about the author. I haven't read anything else. I only read the 40% of that one book. And like I know that like in the series she goes off and is with the son, so like he's not endgame for her, but the fact that he was essentially a pedophile and she was enjoying it, like I couldn't do it. So
no. We don't like the word pedophile.
No, we don't like pedophiles.
No, like
Um,
any sane person.
okay,
Yeah.
so what I think we've talked.
The last category, the most important one, the setting of this story and the checkered floors.
I'll let you start your discussion of the checkered floors.
Okay, so if you guys don't know, I have a specific kink for checkered floors since I've watched Alice in Wonderland, and yeah, it gave me very good vibes from this book. Like the moment she said, "Oh, it's a Victorian Gothic mansion, very, very old with checkered floors," I was like, "Yes, you're already getting 1 star. I haven't even read this, but you're getting 1 star because of this." Yeah.
I did not have similar experiences, but it's fine.
Yeah, but I really like checkered floors. So the moment she described this, I was really into the book already. So if you guys can't already tell, I am the one that likes everything. And then Ashley is the one that balances this life. She's like, "Oh, I hate it." And then I'm like, "Oh, why?" So yeah, I gave 1 star more because of the checkered forest and then the fact that it was Gothic and it had a forest. And
I don't. Itchy how?
what do you mean itchy, Erica?
I'm gonna need some. Yeah, she like the house that she inherits
Yes.
from her parents is like this Gothic, like palatial place that has. I'm pretty sure there's like gargoyles and stuff, isn't there?
Yes, they're yeah. Also, that also made me give the book another star.
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah, and I think that's another thing that I feel like was a missed opportunity was she was like talking about how she was going to fix up the house. I almost wish that her plot line had been her fixing up the house, not her finding her grandmother's diary, because that would have been way more interesting.
For sure. For sure. Especially like if the house was ugly and then she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put checker floors right now." I would have liked it. Like Adeline would have been my favorite heroine ever.
I can already tell that like your dream home is gonna be like a Gothic mansion, and then you walk in and it's just like checkered floors everywhere.
It's gonna be so far away from society. People are gonna be like, "Where's Leticia?" And I'm like, far away. Living with my cows and my goats and my checkered floors and my mansion and like gargoyles. That's it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the setting.
Yeah.
I really liked we were talking about this before the live show, but I loved the haunted house like fair, the Satan's affair thing.
Mhm.
That was my favorite part of the book, and I want to read the Satan's affair book just because of that. Like that whole scene was really cool. So, the Hall of Mirrors scene?
Girl,
Yes.
one moment of silence, please.
I was like, even Alexa cannot ruin this scene for me.
No. No. You pressed me against the mirror.
Oh my god. Her pussy.
Her pussy was so good, and Zayd was amazing. I am in love with that man. Can you imagine?
Oh yes.
No, you can never tell Alexa to read a book again. Actually,
I was like, okay, well
I get it. You were too tired.
no, it's bad. No. Okay, but how bad? Like Charity B bad or
Oh, Charity B is a category now. Okay. I don't think
I haven't heard anything about it.
I don't think it's gonna be that bad, especially because I like everything. But yeah, maybe it's gonna be really bad to you. So,
I think it's shorter than
yeah,
Haunted
it's
Adeline,
like
isn't
less
it?
than 200 pages, I think.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Why?
The broken doll thing, I didn't really get it. Like, did she work at the book or was
Oh.
Oh, I wanted it to be a romance.
Sad.
Really sad. Okay. No, I don't
I
think
thought
it's
it was just like a band of circus people just banging and scaring people. I was like, hell yeah. Not Alexa, but I can read that with my eyes. I
Don't fire Alexa, Riley.
okay, so I was listening to it at work. I was like, okay, I have to get this done.
It's like a weird bug. Okay. Huh?
Oh no, it just gets worse.
Oh no. I
Damn.
wanted to like this so bad.
Well, I guess I'm not reading Satan's Affair.
And serious. Like one of my favorite ones from no, it wasn't last year. I think it was 2019, or maybe 2020. I don't remember. That year was crazy. It was More by Kristen Beccarici, and like the setting was perfect. The circus was like inspired by Cirque du Soleil, and the show that they did was like a very romantic and like sensual little show. So I was like, oh, I love this. So I gave that book 5 stars. I love circus settings, and I was really excited about this one. But from what you're describing, it doesn't sound really good. So
No, it's
I haven't read it. Ashley
it's taboo. It's not really dark, in my opinion.
I think dark romance
It
is
is
more like
it is not trash.
I can't tell you
I
because I haven't read it, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like it because I like everything. So
Sarah, if you there seems to be like 2 different types of people. There are people that like absolutely hate the ending and it like ruins the book for them. And there are people that are okay with the ending and they really like the book. I'm like square in the middle. I hated the ending. I thought it was awful. A terrible decision. I don't know why Penelope Douglas did that, but I was like, okay.
can you
But I liked the rest of the book.
a little bit about why you didn't like the ending?
It's a spoiler.
Oh fuck!
Yeah. I will say if you don't know what the plot is, she goes and lives with her step uncle and his 2 sons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
she picks one.
Okay, yeah, I knew that. So you could have said that.
Yeah, so some people don't like that choice. That I didn't like it either. I didn't think it made sense, but I liked the rest of it enough that like
okay. I'm gonna say something that I know about the book, and I'm gonna be looking at your face, so try not to show any emotion. I really want her to be with like the hot daddy, like the oldest one. So I don't know who she chooses, but I hope it's that guy. Why you're laughing? So
I guess you'll just have to read.
Okay.
I will say this. I will say this. You know my taste.
Yes. Yes. How many stars did you give this book?
I think I gave it 3 or 4. It might have been. It was probably 3.
Oh, no. She's not gonna be with the hot daddy. Oh my god, Ashley, look at me right now. Okay, I'm really sad right now because I don't think she's gonna be with him. But anyways,
I mean, you never know. You could read it, and I could be deceiving you right now.
I don't think you are. You're like a terrible liar.
Excuse me.
Yes, you are. You tried to fool me.
Well,
didn't work.
Okay, so is that it? Is
that
all the categories you had?
The last category about it. I gave it 4 stars. Ashley gave it 3 stars, right? Or
yes.
Like straight up 3 stars, not a 3.5, not a 3.2.
Honestly, if I had to do a decimal, it would be like a 2.5 rounded up to a 3.
Ashley.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm very sad, and I'm expecting our next pick to like redeem this. I'm sad that this was our first pick, but I just didn't really like it.
Our next pick is gonna be
Sea of Ruin. Okay, so I have a dark romance recommendation video if you want to
I also have
read it.
one show
There,
my
it's
channel.
it's like the recommendations are very dark, but if I had to give you a recommendation for a KU book, I would say I would probably say First Comes Blood by Lilith Vincent.
Same thing for me. I was gonna
Yeah.
say that. You stole my recommendation.
Sorry. It was a 5 until the last half. Yeah, I just
It's because I was expecting a lot from the first half. I was like, oh, okay, it's gonna be there is gonna be a plot twist and something's gonna change, right? Because the story was starting to look the same. So I thought there was gonna be a huge plot twist and something like I don't know, same stalker. I was afraid that her stalker was gonna be the same as her grandma's, and I was like, that's disgusting.
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, I was like, I thought that too. I was like, how old is this man? Ugh. Good God. In the second one, you find out it's like actually been a paranormal this whole time, and it's like a vampire.
I was praying, and thankfully, it wasn't the same guy.
Yeah.
So
I think, I don't know. I didn't like it, and I think we said this earlier. If it had been like 200 to 300 pages less, like it would have been fantastic. It just was too messy. I think she didn't know what she wanted to do too many things without actually understanding how she wanted them to work out.
I think she could have done those things, but maybe she should have just separated them better. Okay, like me, Sarah.
I'm overly critical sometimes. I'm one of those people that like if I even for a second don't like start not if I even for a second stop liking something, it just goes downhill from there. Like I can't stop seeing the things that I have problems with. And one of the things that I have the most problem with is dark romances that are dark for shock value, not for like actual reasons. And I felt like that's what this was. And it just like once that thought like entered my mind, I couldn't just ignore it, I guess.
It was the same for me. But I do think all the books I read are like rainbows and butterflies, and I like everything, and everything can be redeemed sometimes. Sometimes, not everything though. Yeah, so it was the same with that book. I thought it was repetitive, and then some things were not something I liked, and then the plot was just messy. But I really liked the couple, and the sex scenes were great. And I want to read the second one because I don't like DNFing series and books. And yeah, it was a 4-star for me.
It's funny because like with you, I know that if we're buddy reading something, I'm like, she's gonna give it 4. It's either 4 stars or 5 stars. Like I could have read the worst book I've ever published. and I'll go to you.
Hey,
and I will have like clear and concise reasons why the book is bad, like all spelled out for you. And you're like 4.5 stars. Like I didn't like this, but it was great. I'm like, what? What?
It doesn't even look like we're reading the same, but I like everything.
Yeah.
It's just because I rate my books based on enjoyment. If I laughed during the book, if I laughed during the book, and if I like the couple, like the main couple, it's already like a 3-star. Not for you though. So yeah. No. That's why my recommendations sometimes are not that great, because I like everything, and everything is a 5-star for me. And then Ashley, everything is like a 3-star and a 4-star. I'm like, girl, live life.
Even sometimes I'll even catch myself, like I'll be right at the end of the book, like I'll finish the book, I'll be like, this is a 5-star, and then like a week later I'm like,
exactly.
Okay,
like,
it was like a 4, it was like a 4-star. No, it was like a 3-star. Okay, it was okay. It just I
get so pissed by it, because I'm like, Ashley, you're finally having fun with your books, and you're like, no, it wasn't 3s, and I'm like,
I have fun with books. I just know that like
you need to have fun with your ratings now.
I'm very much one of those people where like I want you to be able to tell if you will like a book based on if our tastes are similar and what I say about the book. So like if I give a 3-star and you have similar taste to me, then I want you to know that like you will also give it a 3 star.
My followers, are you saying that I'm not a good critic of books?
I think you are. If you
Be
if
very careful with what you say right now.
No, you are. You're very much one of those people that like you're reading everything with like I don't want to say rose-colored glasses, but like you're reading everything
That's okay. I
expecting
like
to
the
love it.
expression.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I'm Barbie on my Pegasus in my castle, and every book that is in my castle has to be fantastic. So like it can't be any other way. And then
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. And then there's you.
yeah. See, yes, my reading taste is also very specific. Like I want people to be able to know that like if you also feel the same way that I do, that if I say something is a 3 star, you probably also will give something a 3 star because there are a lot of things that I do not like in books.
Mhm.
And yeah.
And then there was something you said that really stuck with me, which was basically like, oh, every time I watch your videos, it sounds like the book you're recommending was a 5 star. And that's basically what I do. Like when I like a book, I sell it to you. I'm like, I bring it to your door. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I love the characters and then I love the couple. And I will make sure you know that through my videos. It's like,
Yeah.
even when we're talking and we're having a conversation, I'm like, I don't really like this. And I'm like, excuse me, the scenes were amazing.
What's funny to me is I'll watch a recommendation video of yours and then I'll be like, should I read this? And you're like, nah, you're not gonna like it. I'm like, okay.
Because
Don't even give it a shot. I'm like, okay.
because I know you, and I know you're much more critical with books, even more than the average reader. So I know that most of the books I recommend, in those like romance recommendation videos are books that I truly enjoy and that I also think people will enjoy. But you're more specific, you're like, you look at everything and every little dot and you're like, no, this is not correct. So yeah, I don't really recommend books to you because of that. Like specific ones from my videos. But then if you ask me, oh, can you give me like a dark romance recommendation? I'm like, sure, but like please tell that I like books more than you do. Not like books, but like you know what I mean. Like
You
I
have
like
a very
more books. Yeah.
yeah, you like different things. I
Yeah.
have like very specific I
Yeah.
go in like wanting a very specific thing or expecting a very specific thing. That's why
Exactly.
I don't really try to like, especially with romance, I don't try to like branch off, especially
Mhm.
with like traditionally published and things like that. I don't really like I'm like, I'm probably not gonna like it from previous experience. I haven't liked it. Like sports romances, I don't really like them. So even if it's like the best sports romance someone's ever read in their entire life, I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
not probably going to try it just because
I remember when you read Putz.
oh
We
my
barely
god.
knew each Yeah,
Oh
we
my
barely knew
god.
each other, and you're like, "Oh, let's do a collab." And to this day, that video haunts me because I recommended to you a bunch of fluff, not knowing that you're a dark romance
And then
bitch.
and then I recommended to you like the most angsty shit ever. The books that I'm
And
like,
in
I want
my
everybody to
blog,
read this.
see that in my blog, I liked your books, but I was traumatized. I was never the same after that video.
Yeah, after I just Pucked was just not it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I watch so many videos where people are like, "Oh, Pucked is so good. It's so funny." I'm like, it's just not my thing. Like I don't read books to laugh, and like also that humor is just not really something that I find funny. But I'm happy that people like it.
You don't think humor is
I
funny?
I
Super
abs
you.
I comedy is so below me. I am too misunderstood and dark for comedy to possibly touch me. No, I just
Exactly. This is the
I
Virgo, by the way.
this like one of my biggest pet peeves, like the word that just disgusts me and I just cannot stand to hear it is the word cooter. And that book says it so much. I was like, I cannot. No.
I
The first time
think
I read it,
has
I was like, mm-mm,
I
no.
think it has a bigger meaning to you just because English is not my native language. So I think cooter is just funny. It's like a funny name. Cooter, cooter.
Yes, yes. Horror romances are my jam. Horror and dark, like that's yeah.
I like horror, but only when they're gothic. Yeah. I don't really read.
Yeah, I know. I'm basically like Jay Kristoff, the female version, you know,
Oh my god.
without all the
She's
racism.
that girl.
Yeah. I'm just so misunderstood. I'm not like other girls, you know.
Oh my god. I'm yeah. So I read the second one from the Puck series, the one you hated, the cooter one, and it was
Stop saying that word for the love of God. I will end this book club for all time.
do it, bitch. Okay. So I read the second one. It was much better than the second one, but I still feel you're gonna hate it.
Yeah.
So you're gonna hate it so much. But if you look at my videos, I'm like, oh my god, this is so good. And then if you had commented on that video, should I read it? I would be like, absolutely not. Get the book out of here.
Yeah, this is kind of
This is Ashley's favorite type of book.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, listen. So I agree, but this was not it. Sometimes you'll like read a book and you're like, this is so
Not for
bad.
Ashley.
Like this is so bad. This is just hilarious how bad this is. And Pucked was not one of them. Pucked, like I wanted to burn my Kindle was how bad Pucked was. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Also, this is just gross too. It's the same thing. It's the same word.
Gretchen.
I hate it. Stop. No. I hate it.
I'm 5 and Ashley is 65.
I hate it. I hate ugh.
I think the word coochie, it's okay.
No. And she kept saying beaver. There's a whole scene where she plays with his foreskin. I'm like, please stop. Like no.
Okay.
No.
Now the word foreskin actually reminds me of a disease.
Ugh.
So okay, that has a big impact on me. Like the word coochie, I'm like, coochie, that's funny. And like something itchy.
I hate it.
So yeah, it's not that much.
No.
Like, foreskin.
Be like legitimately a beaver. I'm like the thing chomping wood. I don't know. No.
Yeah.
No. I don't like
The
it.
word beaver reminds me a little bit of like a little insect. So I don't know why. I think it's because it sounds a lot like beaver, besouro, and that's like an insect. Yeah. So yeah. But anyways, those were my thoughts and Pucked and the word coochie, beaver.
Stop. Ugh.
Yeah.
No.
So
Okay.
you guys can also see those vlogs and see how much we changed because I was traumatized after that. And then, yeah, Ashley really got to know.
Yeah.
I feel very attacked right now.
There are a lot of people that like that book. Like even before you recommended it to me,
I know.
there's a
That's why
lot of people. I'm not one of them. That is not like.
But after I watched your vlog, I was like, am I the only one that likes it? And then no, because on Instagram and like Book Talk and everywhere, people love this book. And I loved it too. I thought it was funny.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Nope. Not for me.
It's okay. It was
Burn them all.
As always, it's not for Ashley, but it is good for me. So everything it's beneath her.
You know, I'm reserving judgment. You can love what you love. But I agree. I do not understand it.
You can be like, oh, why do people not like this? But it was funny to me. The word coochie is funny.
Stop. Okay, see, everybody has like a different sense of humor, and that's just not my sense of humor.
Coochie is funny.
Like, and the other, the humor aside, like this was my biggest problem right here is like she was an awful heroine. Like she spent the entire time slut shaming.
She was a little bit quirky. Yeah.
Like she called. I don't know how many times she called the hero a whore because he has other women around him. Like that just yeah. Okay, let's stop shitting on Pucked because I know lots of people liked it.
You're shitting on Pucked. I'm saying.
Sorry. Let Tamika and I stop shitting on Pucked. And we will wrap it up for the the meeting. Next week next month, we are reading Sea of Ruin. And we will be meeting at the same time, but we will be meeting on Letitia's channel. So make sure you go subscribe to her if you have not already. And we will catch you guys in our next one. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.